Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be talking about Universal Orlando Islands of Adventure, the reopening, and our thoughts about the reopening.
That's right.
So you want to start off, Jolly?
Yeah, sure. So we have been back 3 times since the reopening, and we're very impressed with how it's gone so far.
For any park or any theme park or anybody in general to be able to have their game right, you know, as far as having this pandemic and never going through it before ever, for them to reopen in the way they're reopening, I feel pretty safe about it.
I feel safe there. That's right. Even Sierra went.
Yeah.
And
Sierra, she didn't go the first time,
no.
But the second, after we told her about it, she came out and
she went back a second time because she's, if anybody's going to be careful, it's her.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to be near, you know, being sick or anything like that.
Nor does she want to get anybody sick.
That's right.
That's the case. So.
Yeah, because she stays home, so she's not going to be out and about just partying and out with people. She's very, very safe, and she felt safe going there as well. So that says a lot to us. Yeah. That she felt safe enough to go a second time.
Yeah. Now, for the people who just sat down, you know, Universal Management, that sits down and gets and thinks about every little detail that they thought about, also with the blue line, the social distancing, the team members that are constantly keeping everybody in check all the time, the wiping down and all this other stuff. I don't want to jump around, so do you want to get into something?
Sure. So let's start at the beginning. So when you first get there, they are still staggering the parking. So it's every other car is parking. That's the same. Then when you go down, you get your temperature check. That takes seconds. I mean, literally, like they just, if any of you...
And the 3 times we went, no lines.
Yeah, no lines. So I mean, I think the one time there was a family, but by the time we walked up, they were already gone.
And they also have social distancing lines everywhere.
For even the temperature check, even from the beginning. Then you go to the security, same thing, social distancing, and once again, there was no wait for that either. There's like four or five security checks ready, with maybe one person here, nobody there, one person. So there's no wait for that either that we have found so far. Then, when you're going on the conveyor belt going into City Walk, we noticed that they are still cleaning all of the rails where your hands would go.
Like spraying them. Some team members will just stand there because the conveyor belt runs and runs. Some of them will walk up and down it and clean it, but I think it's smarter just to stand there. He sprays that, wipes, and it just holds that and then sprays, sprays.
And then
it just constantly cleans. I mean, all the time.
Yeah, but you will see some of them walking with their cleaning little rag thing and spray.
Yep.
And then, like he said, other ones, they'll just stand there, spray, hold it, and just keep, but it's constantly getting clean.
It's constant, yes.
And then once you get into the park, right before you enter the park, there are people reminding you the social distancing. They're on their microphones on the outside before you enter the park.
You hear it through City Walk too. When you're on the conveyor belts, you hear it constantly. Social distancing, there are signs, they're constantly, team members and management are constantly reinforcing how important it is to social distancing.
Keep your mask on.
Have your mask on at all times. And
wash your hands.
Wash your hands. And speaking of that, when you're going into the bathrooms, they're constantly cleaning those also.
Yes.
I mean, in my opinion, the park is cleaner than it's ever been, ever. You know, normally, you know, you get a lot of traffic going through the parks, and you got to assume that you can't get everything when you have so many people visiting.
They sure are trying though this time. But I mean, they're really getting
if anything, I feel safer now than I did before all this happened, because that's how much attention to detail that they're using as far as cleaning everything, and I mean right down to queue lines, wherever you want to eat at, the same situation there, which you'll go in a little bit more about, bathrooms, just everything.
The rides.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. Now the queue lines, just to let you guys know, the queue lines have social distancing lines also through every queue line.
That's right.
And before you get on any ride at Universal or Islands of Adventure, you have to have hand sanitizer, which a team member squirts in your hand. So you do not touch anything and they do not touch you.
That's right.
They
So it's
squirt
not
in
like
your
it's
hands.
not a pump that you're pushing yourself and infecting from the last person that touched it.
That's right.
The team member squirts it in your hand and you go on your way.
Yep. Yep.
Which
Now
is a good idea.
Now that's not on every ride, but it's also, as I mentioned, eating. The
That's
same
right.
thing.
Yep.
They make you hand sanitize, and most of the time it's not a team member doing it. It's the automatic hand sanitizer.
For the restaurant,
It
yeah.
still has no pumps or anything like that. You stick your hand in there, you hand sanitize, and then they lead you to your table. Now, speaking of places to eat and everything, they social distance you there too. I mean, the past 3 times we were there, we weren't within 3 tables minimum of anybody.
Of the next person.
Which was nice because you are allowed, obviously, to take your mask off when you go to sit down and eat and you're drinking. But in some of them areas, they do have the refillable drink stations, which we got. And what they do there is you still have to put on your mask when you go up to refill your drink.
That's right. Makes
So,
sense because
you
you're
still-
going up there. You're leaving your table.
So you have to put your mask back on. Now the thing about, we'll get in a little bit about the refillable drink stations. They have a team member at every station that is open inside the park. So they're stationed everywhere around the park. You know, it's not just in the restaurants or the food places you eat. They're stationed in quite a few areas, and every one of them stations has a team member waiting for you. Now with these refillable drinks, cups, if it was me and Jolly going up there and getting a drink, we are allowed both at the same time to go up there and use the machine to get the drink because we're in the same party. But say that we didn't know each other and she was going up to go get a drink, I would have to stand 6 foot behind her, which they have designated lines.
Yep, they have a line.
And she would go up to the drink machine, which is touchscreen.
Yep.
Okay, and she would get her refill drink. As soon as she's done, the team member has me hold at 6 feet. They will wipe down the touch screen and they will wipe down the ice tray and wherever you put your cup at. I mean, pretty much thoroughly wipe the whole machine down.
I mean, they do it very quickly and efficiently, but they definitely do it.
After every person. So then I would go up there and get my drink, and then so on and so on. That's what would happen.
Yep.
Also, when it comes to these refillable drinks, you're allowed to get ices, which we get
That's right.
a lot of ices sometimes.
We do love ices.
And the thing I've noticed then with that is you go up there and tell them what you want, and they give you a separate cup to dump into this cup. So they don't even take this cup from you. They never touch it, and it's under your control all the time. So you go up there, you tell them what you want, they get in a separate cup, you dump it in there, and that's the way it is, pretty much.
Yeah, very
with that.
good too, because that's a good point that they don't ever touch your cup. You don't let go of your cup.
Right. It's all you.
It's all
Also,
you.
as far as we already talked about queue lines, I will talk about another ride over the
transportation.
Hogwarts Express, the transportation from one park to another.
Which is a train, the Harry Potter
train?
train that you take from one to the other.
Now, if you're in a family group, they will put you in one car. If it's just us, we've even seen it to where there was one person in line, they got their own car,
Yep.
and that was it. They will tell you and also reinforce again that you are to wear your mask. Even when you're in that car by yourself, you are supposed to wear your mask, which kind of makes sense. They tell you that you're under surveillance. They tell you all the time that you may be asked to leave the park if you don't abide by these safety precautions. And I could see where that's a deal because you're in an enclosed area. You
Yeah.
don't know if somebody did take their mask off and cough or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, you don't know what's going on.
And I've also seen team members also go through there and sanitize that too.
Yes, yep.
So they're constantly, it's just a constant clean, wipe, spray, clean, wipe. It's just all over the place. And they do, if anything about Universal, I can tell you this. For not being through it, like I said before, for
This is the
sitting
first
down,
time for all of them.
thinking about this. Now I know on some new things they got to tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe make it better in certain areas. Knowing where the congestion is so they can try to make it safer for people in those areas, even though they're at a lower capacity. You know, as far as the feel of going to a park and feeling safe, I feel safe 100%.
Yeah.
going to a park.
Oh yeah.
Because they're on top of it. And they're trying to do their best to make it feel like everything's good. And also, say like over in the Harry Potter area.
We spent a lot of time in the Harry Potter area.
Okay, the stores, they have social distancing queue lines because they only allow a certain amount of people in the stores at one time.
That's true.
Which is nice. You're never really close to anybody unless you want to be close. Like when you're going through the Harry Potter section, sometimes people tend to get a little bit closer.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more
because you're walking past
congested.
each other.
Yeah, it's sort of like, Peter Pan and It's a Small World area.
Yeah, it's narrow.
It's very narrow and it's congested in those areas. Even though with the lower capacities, it still can get, it seems a little bit.
Yeah, but you can't help that.
But you can't help that, and
people
everybody's
trying
got
to
their
get
mask.
this way and trying to go that way, so
yeah,
still feels safe.
Also, when it comes to lockers too, they won't even let you go to a locker until it's wiped down.
That's true. Yeah,
and
I saw that.
Or if your lockers if a group of people's on one side and there's a section of lockers open on the other, they will wait until that party leaves before they send you in there to that locker.
Yeah, so, for like the Mummy and for the Harry Potter, what is it? The motocross?
Hagrid's.
Hagrid's motocross. You have to get a locker.
Motorbikes.
Yep, you have to get a locker, and like let's say we're locker in the section number 8. They'll say, what section are you in? You tell them 8. Then if there's someone there, they'll just let you wait for that family to leave, and then you can go get your stuff or put your stuff in if you're just putting your stuff in a locker.
Yeah, they got it pretty efficient when you're going through Hagrid's anyway. You get into the queue line. They scan because it's virtual. It's virtual
queue lines.
Queue lines for that particular ride. And when you walk up, they'll ask you or look to see if you need a locker. They'll direct you in the locker area, and then as soon as you go to the locker, you go out a different exit.
Yeah, that's right.
Into another queue line
to get into the line of the ride.
They do have that pretty much under control over there also.
Yes.
So, what else you got, Jolly?
So, as far as reminding people about the mask and stuff now, so when Sierra and I were going to ride the Hagrid's motorbike adventure, well, Scott was waiting outside with our stuff because we had already ridden. You can get as many virtuals as you want.
As long as you use that one and your time's passed, yeah.
That's right. So there's not like, you can't don't have just like one. If you're able to get 2, then you could try to get 2 for the same ride.
We went on it twice in one day.
That's right.
Both
times.
Yeah, both times. And that's a very, very popular ride. It's actually, I kind of like that ride.
Yeah, I love that ride.
I really like that. And I'm not a big roller coaster fan. I mean, I like roller coasters, but it just depends.
Yeah.
Like the Mummy, it kills me. It literally gives me a back problem, neck problem, and everything else because I can't even see in it. And I went on it with her last 3 times, and I haven't been on that in how many years?
A long time, and you won't for a very long time again.
I won't be going back on the Mummy. But people love it. People are like, wow, it's great, it's awesome. I'm thinking, okay, my shoulders and neck hurt. How many days after that? I was like, I'm never even going to go back on that ride again. Now, so that's one I can do without and don't care about. But Hagrid's, even though it has a lot of speed to it, it's got jumps, it's got turns, it's got
jumps.
Like drops. I meant not jumps, drops. It's a pretty
intense
cool
coaster, but
it almost makes you feel like you're on a motorcycle too. So you got kind of control in a way.
Yeah, you kind of feel like it because you're on the motorcycle.
Yeah, now I've never been in a sidecar. I'd probably go crazy in the sidecar. But
I'm always in the sidecar. So anyway, I was going to say, while we were in there, the weather was coming in, and we were stuck in that line for about an hour. Mm-hmm. Right? Hour and a half.
Because lightning strikes within 10 miles, they'll shut it down.
Yeah, so Sierra and I were in the line, and the people behind us, I don't think they realized it, they were creeping up. Like they were slowly creeping up on us. And then sure enough, the intercom came on saying, please stay 6 feet apart. Please look, social distancing or whatever it was, their little spiel thing that they did. And please keep your mask on, even if you're in the queue. And sure enough, the people behind us inched their way back to the blue line, and they put their mask back on.
They're on their phones. They're not kind of paying attention to where they're at. They're so used to being in a queue line that they just scoot in. I, for one, appreciate the fact that, because I'm not a crowd type of person, And I kind of like the fact that my heels aren't getting stepped on. I got a little breathing room. It's hot enough
Sierra
as it
definitely
is.
likes it.
And you know, Hagrid's, it's mostly, which they thought about this too, you're in air conditioning.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of queue line on the outside too,
is.
but it was pretty hot. With the mask on, it gets a little bit hot, but it was nice. It was actually comfortable in there to be separate from people, but yet you got to keep in mind the line's not really as long as it looks on some of the most popular rides.
Yeah.
Like E.T., we went on that non-stop, hardly any wait, if any at all.
Maybe a 5-minute wait.
Maybe, if you're lucky. Over there at Cat in the Hat, we could have rode that as many times as we wanted.
We didn't ride though, but we could have.
But it was empty. There was literally nobody there. Now, as far as just in the popular rides, that's where you're going to get a little bit. But even then, it's not that long of a line. It wasn't that long of a wait for anything that we've done.
Except for that weather stopping us at the Hagrid's motocross.
Yeah.
All right, one last thing I wanted to mention was since we've been there a total of 3 times, we do have a couple more videos coming out, so you will be able to see this. But they do have rest zones or rest areas, and I'll show you that in the video. But the short of it is it's an area where you can keep social distance, but it's a safe free zone where you can take your mask off. Now, one of them was an old stadium show, right? It was an old...
Yeah, over at Islands.
Yeah, in Islands.
Yeah.
And then the other one was a nice little... It was actually a pretty big area.
Probably the Back to the Future car.
Yes, and where you could go in there. And so they have them throughout both parks where you can feel safe to go there, take your mask
Relax
off.
with your group. If
Yeah,
you
with your group.
and
Take your mask off. Maybe have a drink or whatever, go back there with your drink, or even if you don't have a drink, that's the area where you can do that and still stay away from other people. So that's nice that they have that.
And just to let you guys know, if you do get a drink like me, I always have something in my hand, especially on a hot day. You can, like, you know what I mean, and drop it down, you know? I mean, it's not like...
you can take it off and drink.
I mean, you got to keep it on all the time, but if you want to take a quick sip, you can do that. Because you know that you're away from people, and you know it's not like I'm up next to somebody and then I just take it off and drink it. I don't do that, but you could. I mean, I'm just telling you that you could do that.
And of course, you will see people that have them down under their chin, but you can't expect Universal and Islands of Adventure or any
to get
theme
every
park,
single person,
or any theme park for that matter. I mean, you're gonna see it because there's gonna be people that have it down. And they're just too high. You don't know.
A little bit.
That's right, but
they're going to be, you know.
Yeah, but we have seen where the team members are reminding people, and if they do see somebody, we've both seen them go over and say it. So is it 100%? I don't think it will ever be 100%, as long as there are people that don't want to really abide by it. But for the most part, the people that we've seen, they talk to, they put it on right away, and they're you know, they don't argue with it or anything like that.
The bottom line is we feel safe about going.
Yep, absolutely.
And a big thank you to Universal.
And we're not sponsored by Universal.
No, they didn't put us up to this at all. But if you like this, you know, email me at roadtrippinforlife@gmail.com.
That's ridiculous.
Anyway, but Universal, to me, you made us feel safe. All the team members that made us feel safe, thank you to them. And we had a great time. And we didn't know how we were going to feel in the beginning, going through, you know, wearing a mask and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But I have to say, it was actually a real pleasant experience, especially with the low wait times that we have, and able to get on some rides other than the Mummy. And
we got the Mummy.
Just really not waiting too long and having a good, clean, safe experience and a fun time over there at Universal.
So don't forget to watch. Keep an eye out for those upcoming videos, because we do have a couple more videos showing different things, social distancing, some lines on the ground, to give you a better idea of exactly what to expect if you're going to be going back there.
Yeah, we didn't film too much when we took Sierra because we wanted to spend time with her. You know,
hopefully you guys will enjoy the video.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys, we'll see you on the next video. We hope this helped you guys. And remember,
smiles
are free.
Bye.